I'm going to be real with you right now, Bills fans. This moment feels heavy, but also weirdly pivotal. Because in the last few days, it's felt like the ground shifted under this team in two completely different ways at the same time. One moment that hits you right in the chest as a fan, and another that makes you stop and think about how aggressive this franchise might be about what comes next. And that's why this matters. Because one situation is about uncertainty, about a future that suddenly isn't guaranteed anymore. And the other? That one screams urgency, win-now energy, no patience, no waiting around. Both of these stories are happening right now, in this exact moment of the Bills' timeline. And together they tell us a lot about where this team is mentally, emotionally, and strategically. Something important happened. Something that could change careers. And something that could change the entire direction of this defense moving forward. But you really have to see the full picture to understand why this isn't just another off-season headline. So stick with me, because once you connect these dots, it hits different. And real quick, if you're a true Bills fan, do me a favor. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Bills Nation Update is brand new. We're chasing our first 1,000 subscribers, and this is a space for fans who actually feel this team the way we do. All right, let's get into it. Now we got to talk about the part of this that honestly hurts to say out loud. Because this isn't just some depth chart update or off-season noise. This is about Dorian Strong. And yeah, this is scary stuff. When Brandon Beane came out and said this was a very serious deal, my stomach dropped. And if you're a Bills fan who actually follows the roster closely, you know exactly why. This wasn't just some camp body. This was a kid who earned his way onto the field immediately. 6th-round pick, Virginia Tech, no hype machine, no guarantees. And yet, week 1, there he is, starting on the boundary against the Baltimore Ravens. 51 snaps on defense, more on special teams, and the Bills pull off that wild 41-40 comeback. That's not an accident. That's the coaching staff trusting you. And then, just like that, everything changes. The neck injury happens in Week 4 against the New Orleans Saints, and from that moment on, his entire rookie season, and now possibly his career, is thrown into question. Beane straight up said there's a procedure coming that will determine whether he can even play football again. That's not football talk. That's life talk. What makes this tougher is that even when Strong wasn't starting, he was still contributing. He split reps with Tre'Davious White, played meaningful snaps against the New York Jets, the Miami Dolphins, and again the Saints. Defense, special teams, always around the ball, always tackling. 36 snaps on defense, 36 on special teams in just a few weeks. That's a roll. That's a path. And then injured reserve. Week 5, done. Never comes back. As a fan, you can argue scheme fits, roster construction, draft picks, all that stuff. But moments like this remind you how brutal this league really is. Neck injuries aren't about toughing it out. This is about long-term health, quality of life, walking away okay when football's over. I think every Bills fan right now is hoping for the same thing, and it's bigger than football. We want good news for Dorian Strong, the person first. Because if his future on the field is uncertain, his future off it matters way more. But here's where the reality hits. When something like this happens, teams don't just feel it emotionally, they feel it strategically. Depth becomes urgency. Development turns into desperation. And suddenly, the front office starts looking at the league very differently. Because almost immediately you start hearing whispers, about experience, about win-now moves, about names that don't exactly fit a wait-and-see timeline. And that leads directly into the second story, one that could completely reshape how this secondary looks moving forward. All right, now let's shift gears, because this second story has a very different energy to it. While one part of the Bills universe is holding its breath, hoping for good news about a young player's future, the other part of the organization is clearly thinking about right now, about pressure, about urgency, about not wasting another year of this window. And that's where this prediction comes in. According to Jarrett Bailey from Behind the Steel Curtain, the Bills are being projected to make a trade with the Pittsburgh Steelers for Jalen Ramsey. Yeah, that Jalen Ramsey. The idea is Buffalo sends a 2027 fourth-round pick to Pittsburgh, and in return, the Bills get an 8-time Pro Bowler who can still play corner and safety. And honestly, the more you sit with it, the more it starts to make sense, especially in the context of everything else happening. This is a Bills team that just went through a massive coaching change. Sean McDermott is out, Joe Brady is in, and one of Brady's first big moves was bringing in Jim Leonhard to run the defense. That matters. Leonhard's scheme is all about versatility, intelligence, and disguising coverage. And if there's one thing Jalen Ramsey still brings, it's football IQ and flexibility. Last season with Pittsburgh, he played a ton of snaps at safety. And guess what? He still made the Pro Bowl. 8th time, at 32 years old. Now, yeah, he's not 26 anymore. The Steelers reportedly want to get younger on defense, which is why this trade even exists as a possibility. But the Bills? The Bills are not in a get younger phase. They're in a win now phase as long as Josh Allen is playing at an elite level. That's the key. This isn't about building for 2029. This is about 2026 right now, and whether this team is willing to push chips in. A fourth-round pick 2 drafts from now is not a crazy price if you believe Ramsey can stabilize your secondary, mentor younger guys, and give you position flexibility every single week. And don't forget, this dude has been there. He was a huge part of the Los Angeles Rams Super Bowl run in 2021. That kind of experience matters in a locker room that's been knocking on the door for 6 straight seasons and keeps coming up just short. You add someone like Ramsey and suddenly the room changes, the tone changes, practice intensity changes, preparation changes. That's not hype, that's reality. And when you zoom out, it's hard not to connect this with what we talked about earlier. A young corner with an uncertain future, depth suddenly feeling thin, a new defensive coordinator, a head coach who knows the clock is ticking. The Bills could still draft a corner early. They could still explore other veteran options. But this would be a loud statement, a clear message that Buffalo isn't waiting around to see how things play out. And that brings us to the real question. What do these 2 stories together actually say about where this team is headed? That's what we'll wrap up next. And when you step back and really look at both of these stories together, it tells you exactly where the Buffalo Bills are right now. On one side, you've got a young player whose future is suddenly uncertain. A reminder of how fragile this league is, how fast things can change, and how development plans can disappear overnight. As fans, that hits us emotionally first. You hate it. You hope for the best. You pray the kid's life and health come before everything else. But on the other side, you see a franchise that knows it doesn't have the luxury of waiting. These 2 situations combined tell me the Bills are at a crossroads, and they know it. The margin for error is shrinking. The patience for "we'll see next year" is gone. This team understands the window they're in, and it's not wide open forever. This feels less like a rebuilding moment and more like a decisive one. If you're asking me as a fan, I think this is a moment where Buffalo has to be bold but smart. Respect the human side of the game, protect your players, but also don't let uncertainty paralyze you. Because standing still in the NFL is the fastest way to fall behind. Right now, the vibe around this team feels intense, serious, focused, not panicked, but definitely aware that time matters. And honestly, I'd rather be a fan of a team that's willing to make tough decisions than one that pretends everything's fine. Now, I want to hear from you. If you're watching this and you're a Bills fan who actually cares about real conversations, drop a like, leave a comment. Tell me how you feel about all of this. Bills Nation Update is a brand new channel. We're chasing our first 1,000 subscribers, and this is being built by fans, for fans. If that sounds like you, hit subscribe and let's grow this thing together. Bills Mafia. We're just getting started.